Hey there, if you're a beauty founder, wellness professional, or a healthcare provider building a brand, I made something special just for you. You already have the results, the credentials, the products, the testimonials, the loyal customers. You're credible. You've built something that works. But if your visibility and your revenue still don't reflect the excellence of your work, it's not your offer. The online landscape has changed. The attention economy is fading. And the brands growing fastest right now aren't chasing algorithms, they're owning authority. In my free masterclass, The Authority Era: How to Become an Influential Name in Beauty and Wellness and Attract More Customers, I will show you how to shift from attention to authority and how to use credibility as the engine that drives sustainable growth for the long term. Watch the Authority Era Masterclass free at factorpr.com/authority, and you can find the link in the show notes below. If you've been wondering about how to age well without guessing your way through supplements and skincare trends, this episode of Grow Your Wealth is for you. In today's conversation, I'm joined by Body and Beauty Lab's Krysha Mallari, a board certified nurse practitioner whose work blends integrative health, aesthetic medicine, and functional longevity. Krysha shares her journey from traditional hospital settings to helping patients not just live longer now, but live better. We explore the real difference between lifespan and health span, why hormone replacement therapy is so misunderstood, especially for women, and how things like testosterone, strength training, sleep, peptides all can play a major role in your energy, your metabolism, and even your mood as you age. Krisha also breaks down why beauty and wellness aren't separate conversations anymore and how confidence, vitality, and feeling good in your skin are deeply connected. So, whether you're new to the world of functional medicine or looking to upgrade your wellness routine and ultimately your business with tools that actually work, this episode is going to inspire you to take charge of your health from the inside out. I'm pleased to introduce you to Krysha Mallari of Body and Beauty Lab. Let's go. Hi, Krisha. I'm so
Hi.
excited to have you here today. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Rena. I'm
Thank you
excited.
so much for being here. I'm so excited to chat with you. You are really the definition of a professional who truly blends beauty and science in your day to day work as a board certified nurse practitioner at Body and Beauty Lab. I know you have deep roots in healthcare, but you're also someone that I know just working together, you've really have this gift bridging the integrative holistic lens in terms of beauty and wellness. So I want to start with you today. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and what ultimately has drawn you into this field that you're in?
Yeah, thank you so much. Great introduction. Thanks. So everything actually started when I was younger. My mom passed out at work. So luckily she was surrounded by coworkers and was able to have help immediately. And then we found out her heart rate was low and dangerously low. She has this condition called like left bundle branch block. So that's what really got me interested in healthcare in general. She needed a
Mm.
pacemaker, and just seeing her so vulnerable and watching healthcare professionals save her life, it really inspired me. So then I started working as a cardiac nurse, like in the heart floor, and eventually became a nurse practitioner because I wanted more authority. I did everything like from nursing home care, being in people's homes, telehealth, and even end of life. And then I learned, a lot of valuable lessons doing that. But I felt as though I was just helping people survive and not really living, right? So over time,
Mhm.
burnout hit. Dealing with healthcare insurance is another topic on its own. So I just felt like I was constantly reacting to illness instead of helping people truly heal or prevent getting sick in the first place. So there was also a creative side I wanted to explore. So you mentioned aesthetic, so I do that. I eventually ventured into aesthetic medicine, where I trained to do the aesthetic injectables like Botox, dermal filler, biostimulators. And then through attending aesthetic medicine conferences, I was exposed to integrative health and functional medicine. That's when I thought, wow, this is probably a field that I would want to dive into further, because it's where we ask questions like why symptoms exist rather than just prescribing something to people, like root cause. We're looking at root causes, helping people get better from on a deeper level. So I trained under this very successful nurse practitioner entrepreneur. Her name is Alexis Yu, or Lexi Yu. So she really helped me shape my path into being able to do hormone replacement therapy, peptide therapy, longevity medicine, or anti-aging medicine in general. So people can truly feel better from the inside out. They're sleeping better, losing weight, building energy, feeling more emotionally connected. So now I work in this wonderful integrative health space and aesthetic medicine space. I feel very, very fulfilled. I get to blend like science and the soul and helping people live better, not just longer. Yeah.
Ooh, I love that. It's really beauty from the inside out too, which I think is so important. And longevity, particularly, that word is such a buzzword right now. And I know for you, it's not just about living longer, but like you said, living a better life, a fuller
Yes.
life, really, too.
Right.
How do you define longevity in your practice? Can you go a little deeper there?
Yeah, so like you said, longevity, it's like a buzzword, right? Absolutely. And everyone wants to live longer. Who doesn't? But I don't believe in chasing more years if those extra years are just full of pain and fatigue and decline. So I mentioned I worked in end of life care. So I've seen people technically living, but not truly living. And I that really changed how I define longevity. So I believe it's really about health span. So there's lifespan and health
Mm.
span. During the health span, it's the number of years you can truly live, move freely, think clearly. You'll be able to carry groceries, get off the floor without struggling, being able to travel, playing with your kids, grandkids, and just going through life confidently, um, giving love, receiving love, and feeling like yourself. So to me, true longevity is when you're age 65 to 85 and still having the strength, still have that cognition and emotional resilience to go through life, and just not suffering, living better in general. So that's the goal for me.
That
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, that is the goal. And I know for a lot of our listeners, that is the goal also too. So excited to be really making space for this conversation. I'm curious too, Krisha, what are some of the most impactful wellness shifts that you recommend for people that want to stay sharp, energized, focus, especially as we age, in that kind of lens of health span? I know a few of the things that you touched on that I'm quite curious about includes things like HRT,
Yes.
peptides. I've even just read a study recently that GLP-1s are not
Yeah.
just related to weight loss now, but are really looked at as a longevity drug too.
Yes.
Can you tell us about some of these and any other kind of wellness shifts that you're seeing on the front lines too that have really making an impact in people's lives?
Yes, definitely. I'll start with the basics first. Those are very great tools, and I'll talk about it in more detail later on. But the foundation of health, I would say, is movement and sleep, right? So the biggest shifts would be movement is always number one. Strength training and movement are the biggest predictors of long-term metabolic health. And muscle building is not just about looking toned, but it's an organ of longevity. So it supports insulin sensitivity, protects your brain, boosts your metabolism, and helps stabilize your hormones. Nutrition is another big pillar. So, not eating ultra processed foods because they drive inflammation, which is linked to aging. And it helps symptoms like just optimizing your nutrition helps with symptoms like brain fog, mood swings, and preventing cognitive decline. And then sleep, I mentioned it's a very huge factor. So when we sleep, our body releases growth hormones that repair tissue, detoxifies the body and the brain, and resets your nervous system. And so those are the foundations of health, I believe. And you mentioned microdosing GLP-1. So GLP-1s are in a class of, I guess you can say medications, but really they're more natural than that. It's in a class of drugs called peptides. So
Mhm.
peptide therapy in general there's other peptides that people don't know about. One of them is GLP-1, but there's other ones that help with immunity, helps with muscle building, helps with increasing what we call like brain-derived neurotrophic factor in the brain to increase cognitive and function. So there's so many things in like the cellular medicine world that people don't know about that really does help in terms of improving your quality of life and make your longer years very impactful, and just the quality of life really so much better. So there are studies that show microdosing GLP-1 can be very beneficial, not just for people with diabetes or obesity, but just even for, women as we age. Sometimes it's hard to get rid of that visceral fat, and that's a driver of inflammation. So improving your insulin sensitivity with microdose GLP-1, I've really seen people feel a whole lot better, especially because that microdose also drives down inflammation in the body. Hormones, I can talk about hormones all day long.
Go for it.
So, yeah, so there are hormone replacement therapy is a game changer, especially as we get older. So most of my patients are actually women who start coming to me because they see their primary care, their doctor, and they say, I've been feeling really awful, not getting enough sleep, brain fog, mood, anxiety, all the things. I'm having a hard time losing weight, and I feel just inflamed all the time. And they come to me experiencing all these, and they said their labs were normal, but really they're not optimal. So, and then I find that it's because there's a hormone deficiency, either due to perimenopause or menopause. Okay, so hormone replacement therapy, I I I I explain kind of like the natural process of how our hormone shifts, even as women, even during the premenopausal years. Every month our hormone shifts and it affects how we feel. That's why during the luteal phase we kind of feel more tired, anxious, lack of sleep, all of that. And not a lot of women realize. Men have it a lot easier because their hormones are for the most part steady, but in women it changes all the time. And then especially when you enter perimenopause and menopause, that shift can be so extreme and people just don't feel their best. So hormone replacement therapy is definitely one of the big, I think it's becoming more mainstream now. More celebrities are coming out talking about the importance of hormone replacement therapy, especially in women. So that's one thing that I do that I feel like it's the greatest tool in my toolbox right now for my patients. Yeah.
Oh, that's so important. And as of the time that we're recording this, I don't know exactly if it has happened yet, but I think it's imminent to, when we talk about HRT, especially things like, estrogen
Yes.
replacement, there was that study that came out in, I think it was the early 90s. They said that basically said, don't do it, like black box
Oh,
warning on hormone therapy. And it's coming off now, which is
yes.
great because they realized the study was a total flop, right? And
Oh,
that
yeah.
there's so many more benefits to HRT
I get
than
this
we
question
than we've
all the
know.
time. Yes.
Yeah, which is like it's so great. Like I think that's part of the reason why it is becoming more mainstream and more talked about because we are realizing and starting with the medical community realizing based on science that
Right.
it's not bad for you. It's actually helping,
Yeah.
like you said, get down to the root cause rather than maybe going on an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety medication fix the problem, right? Would
Yes.
you agree?
I completely agree. And that study, it's actually called the Women's Health Initiative, and it was in
Yeah.
2004. It was in 10,000 plus women, and there was a huge press around it that pretty much ruined hormone replacement therapy for a lot of women. But what people don't realize is they only studied one particular type of hormone, and they are synthetic hormones. It's a combination of what we call a conjugated equine estrogen and medroxyprogesterone acetate. You don't need to know this, but tell me, patients, you don't need to know this, but what you need to know is these are only one type of hormones, but there are other options that are what we call bioidentical. Some people would say that's a buzzword, bioidentical, but what it really means is it's the same molecular structure as what we produce naturally from our own body. So meaning they're hitting the right receptors. When I check your blood work, I can see these levels changing. Unlike if you were on those synthetic hormones, I cannot see those your estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone levels. So these bioidentical hormones are much safer. Okay.
Mhm.
There's no evidence that these directly increase your risk of cancer. Matter of fact, the bioidentical progesterone, which is an oral pill that I prescribe, it's actually shown to protect your uterus against endometrial cancer. So there's a lot of protective benefits by
Mhm.
optimizing these hormones, not going super physiologic, and just really, providing the right type of hormones, really, and not. And it's just such a shame because that study really made a lot of physicians scared to prescribe
Mhm.
hormone replacement therapy in general. But there's a lot of studies that also show that when you start hormone replacement therapy as soon as possible within 10 years of menopause onset, there's a lot of benefits, such as decreasing the risk of cardiovascular disease. Really, like high cholesterol can be driven, the bad type of cholesterol can be driven by the lack of estrogen. And also, fat distribution is a big thing, are actually, because our midsection fat is
Mhm.
actually, or not just fat in general, it's a producer of estrogen. So what happens is when we go into that hormone decline during menopause, the body feels the need to hold on to that midsection fat. That's why a lot of menopausal women feel like they can't lose the weight easily. And then when I give them hormone replacement therapy, it's almost night and day. They feel like, okay, finally, yes, like
Wow.
even though they're doing everything right, like I have very, very healthy women in terms of lifestyle. They've optimized everything. My patients, their nutrition is optimized. They work out. They do strength training at least 3 times a week, and they're still not losing weight. And it's because of that hormone decline. So when we start hormone replacement therapy, they feel overall better, and they can lose the weight easier. So
Wow.
yeah, it's really game changing. Mhm.
That's incredible. So would you say you're seeing results like that for your patients
Yes.
with estrogen and progesterone only? How I know testosterone has been a big
Yes.
topic as well too. I've heard that it possibly helps with muscle mass, like getting
Yes,
more muscle on
definitely.
your body. I know every person is unique, but do you include testosterone
Uh,
as a tool in your toolbox too?
I do. Every single day I hear my patients saying, "Wow, I never knew this was what I needed all along," and they feel so much better. Yeah. I told you about my history, right? I worked in conventional medicine, and I didn't have those tools in my toolbox, and I just felt like I was putting out fires all the time. But now I feel like I'm truly helping people on a deeper level. So really thankful for that. So yeah, hormones. In women I address estrogen or estradiol and
Mhm.
progesterone. And then testosterone is a big thing. People don't realize that it's not just a male hormone; it's a human hormone. So, as women, we also need testosterone. Testosterone is a precursor to estrogen, actually. So, in a healthy, premenopausal reproductive female, our ovaries produce actually 3 to 4 times more testosterone than would do estrogen. Not a lot of people realize that. Yeah. And testosterone is very important for a lot of things. Muscle mass is a big thing, libido. It's also a big brain hormone, so it works in the brain to help with cognitive enhancement, cognitive function. So it helps with things like executive functioning, memory, focus, motivation, overall well-being. I'm not ashamed to say I'm actually all myself am on testosterone therapy right now, and I feel like my mental sharpness has gone through the roof. It's a lot better. I feel like I'm not. Usually, sometimes I have like word finding where I would um, not remember a word or a place or a time, and then now that doesn't happen anymore. And a lot of my patients, female patients on testosterone therapy, feel the same way and say the same thing, where they feel as though they're not forgetful anymore. They're in their careers, they're succeeding more. They're less uh what do you call this, like their stress resilience is better.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a pretty amazing treatment for sure. The only thing is, and in your research you may probably see this, is that there is currently no FDA approved testosterone therapy for women, only for men. Yeah.
Mm.
So, but it's in the works. There's actually a group of doctors who recently went to the FDA, I believe this past July, to present the case that there's a large body of evidence that shows testosterone really helps women. There's even a study on testosterone pellets, or it's a procedure that I actually do here, where I insert testosterone subcutaneous pellets, usually in the upper part of the buttock. It's a sustained release dissolvable pellet. It dissolves to the rate of your metabolism. It lasts about 3 to 4 months. There's actually a study by Dr. Glaser that showed that it even decreased the risk or reduced the risk of breast cancer. So I'm excited to see what other emerging studies are there in the hormone replacement therapy world. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Hi, friends. I want to tell you about our new and improved authority accelerator from Factor PR called RealFluence. RealFluence is the only membership that helps beauty and wellness founders grow their reputation and authority to attract new customers without endless discounting, advertising, or going viral. Inside, you'll learn how to get recognized for your product or your expertise, partner with other founders, and become the name people trust and talk about, all with the guidance and community to support you every step of the way. Remember, you can't buy authority, you have to earn it. And Realfluence is here to help. Visit therealfluence.com to get started. That's incredible. I mean, I know, right, there's going to be people who maybe HRT, they are not candidates for, have to, make note of that. But that
Right.
being said, hormones, it just sounds like really runs the show when we talk about health span too, because you're not just talking about like looking better, but really feeling your best. And, that's something that we talk a lot about on Grow Your Wealth is that like when we are healthy, mind, body, spirit, we do our best work, right? And
Yes.
for those of us like me, I'm a service provider. So I'm interacting with clients. Like I cannot afford to not be on my top game, right? Like
Right.
I always have to be like tip top shape. And so, especially as we age, I did like a kind of a funny betrayal list that was trending the other day on
Oh,
social media. And one of my
yeah.
betrayals was like, who set this up that like women who are like peaking in their careers just happens to coincide with when perimenopause is starting to hit, right?
Yeah.
But, talking with you, it's like, okay, well, again, there are tools in the toolbox that this
Yes.
doesn't have to be like, a downward slope, right? You hit 40 or however old you are, and then it's just
Yes.
like all downhill from here
Right.
cognitively or health wise. So thank you for giving us hope on that. I do want to double tap too on the strength training and nutrition, right? Because I think that's sort of like the day-to-day stuff. What do you recommend, Krysha, in terms of how often to strength train, how heavy to strength train? What is the best nutritional advice? I know again, everybody's going to be different. And seeing someone like you can help kind of customize a plan. Are there any best practices though that you can share with us?
Yeah, strength training. Okay. So recently I went to a functional medicine conference, and in terms of just movement and exercise in general, biggest longevity predictor is this value called VO2 max. You probably heard that, right? So
Okay, yeah.
yeah, so that's usually you can do that through what we call the Norwegian style of training. So it's found to increase your VO2 max the most rather than just regular cardio. So what that means is 4 minutes of pretty much cardio, getting your maximum heart rate up to 85 to 95%, and then 3 minutes of active recovery, and do that 4 times, and that will increase your VO2 max. So that's a good way. You can do that maybe twice a week, I would say, or even just getting your steps in every day. I would say at least 5,000 steps a day, 10,000 if you want to really go for optimal longevity reasons or longevity benefits, or studies that show that around 9,000 steps you decrease your risk of Alzheimer's dementia. So just that regular movement. And then in terms of strength training and muscle building, I would say at least twice a week for most people, even just 20 minutes, and rotating the different muscle groups or muscle parts, right? So in our clinic we have this machine called an in-body scan. Are you familiar with it? So what that is it's kind of like, how healthcare professionals use an EKG to check for heart attacks. It's kind of
Yeah.
like the same technology. It uses what they call bioelectrical impedance. So it kind of works like how an EKG would, where I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not an engineer, so but I think that's how it works. And so it assesses your muscle mass, your body fat mass and then also your visceral fat. So visceral fat is a type of deep fat that sits deeper inside our chest and abdominal cavity. It surrounds our internal organs, and it's also pro-inflammatory. So I like using the InBody scan because we can really see how much muscle mass you have, and it even analyzes what parts of your body needs more muscle more than the other. So based on that, that's how I recommend with to my patients what type of strength training they would need. So very frequently, a lot of people lack muscle in the legs, especially in men. They don't really like lower body training, but yeah. So then I would say, okay, since this InBody is telling us that you could use more muscle in your legs, then I would focus more on lower body workouts, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, and do that at least twice a week instead of just once, so that we can focus more on building your muscle. So as I would say, like at least twice a week, focus on your, depending on where your need is, working with someone like me with an integrative health, like functional medicine background, or even really like a reputable, coach or like a fitness coach, right? Sometimes
Mm.
some of these gyms have this machine too that will really use that to your benefit, that will really determine like what is the best plan for you, because everyone's different. So I can't just say, okay, everyone just do this and you'll be fine. Everyone has different needs, and using these tools in the toolbox, like the InBody scan, really, really helps with that as well. Okay.
What a time to be alive that we have tools like this and
I know.
people like you that can literally get something that is science backed, that can
Right.
give you a plan that's really customized,
Yes.
especially for you. And I can see that being such a powerful combination as well, too. Like getting a strength training plan that can help you put muscle on your body,
Mhm.
possibly microdosing something like a GLP that can
Yes.
help reduce the fat
Right.
that you're
Exactly.
carrying on your body as well.
Mhm.
This is seems like such a powerful couple. So I love it all. I also want to chat just a little bit about the aesthetics, because you mentioned that you also do quite a bit of that in office at Body and Beauty Lab. What's a typical day like for you when you're working with your clients on the aesthetics side of things? Anything that you're seeing just sort of on the front lines that people are asking for? Any new technology that you're really excited about? Would love to hear the 411.
Yeah, so I would say like I do mostly the integrative health, and then maybe 20 to 30% aesthetics,
Mhm.
because I also have other coworkers here who primarily do the aesthetic injectables. But when I do aesthetics, I do the neurotoxins, so like the Botox or
Mm.
Dysport. I think those are the most popular ones. Dermal filler, which is important for volumization. So as we age, we kind of lose some of the volume, especially in the mid phase and also like the
Mm.
lower phase. So dermal fillers are really great. They're hyaluronic acid based, so it's the same compound that we see in our joints and in our skin, right? So it's more natural that way, I guess you would say. It's not for everyone. It's not great for the under eye area, but just because it can help draw in that water. So sometimes I do see people like getting puffy with that, but when delicately placed and very strategically in certain parts of the face where people have volume deficiency, it really complements it harmonizes your whole face, and you do look very youthful with the derma filler. I would say my favorite are biostimulators. So if you've heard something like Sculptra or Radius, so that's a
Mm.
liquid solution that we inject kind of more superficially in your dermis, so the part that matrix, that thick part of your skin, right? So it helps rebuild that matrix, helps
Mm.
firm up and thicken your skin, reduces signs of aging like lines or wrinkles, and it has like a tightening effect to the skin too, so almost like a mini facelift, I guess you would say. Yeah, so I would say that's my favorite. So yeah, so that's what I offer. What I've noticed actually is like my best patients are the ones who do both the integrative health and the aesthetic side, because
Mm.
naturally when you want to look good, you also want to feel good on the inside, and vice versa, right? So
Yeah.
and when you are feeling your best, when we up oh, I forgot to mention the skin benefits of estrogen. So very frequently when I put my postmenopausal patients, especially on estrogen replacement, their skin starts glowing. And they would tell me, my friends told me, like, my, yeah, my skin looks better, or just like I look a little bit more, youthful. So that's like a big benefit actually, because it helps lubricate our skin, helps lubricate our joints, our gut, even some gut issues. I know I'm like going off topic here, but there's just so many benefits to it. Yeah. And people just feel overall better. And then when you feel better, it's like you want to make yourself look better too. So it's kind of like a good positive cycle there. Like you give more effort to look better when you feel better. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I'm glad that you talked a little bit about that too, because I think just so many people are just not aware that these options are available to us, and not just available, but more accessible than ever, right? Like all it takes is just making that appointment. I'm a big fan of like writing down everything in advance and just having that list and
Yes.
sharing it, right? Because like you had said, especially with uh ailments that might be more root cause, things might be connected, right? Like your dull skin and your fatigue and your bad sleep and your cycles all over the place could
Yeah.
all be right, like related back to one thing, maybe
Yeah.
hormone decline.
Yes.
So I think that that's such a powerful combination that you offer, and I'm just curious too, Krisha, if you can share with us what you do, because I you are literally glowing. So I'm
Oh,
just
really?
curious. Yes, you are literally glowing. What does a life in your shoes like? How do you
Oh,
take
thank
care
you.
of
You're
yourself?
glowing.
Oh, thanks.
I actually
uh,
don't have any makeup on right now.
oh my.
So,
Okay, well,
I
I
was rushing to get to work this morning because I actually live 45 minutes away from the city, and it was, with traffic and everything, it's just awful. So I don't have anything on. So thank you. I
wow.
appreciate it. Um, what do I do? So for maintenance, I do everything. So I do Botox. That really helps with my forehead lines, and
Mm,
Botox also there's so what it does is it relaxes the muscles, right? There's actually tiny muscles in our skin as well. So very frequently, patients would say they notice their skin becoming smoother because the pores shrink because of that
mm,
relaxing effect of Botox. So not only does it prevent the movement that contributes to the wrinkles, it also helps the pores shrink, and it makes it look better. So that's a must for me. So sometimes every 5 months with the Botox. And then we have treatments like microneedling. I really love that because it's kind of like we call it like collagen induction therapy, where it's a controlled injury to your skin, and it stimulates your own skin to produce or boost collagen and elastin production. So that really helps. And then just really good skincare. So I'm a
mm.
fan of retinol or retinoids that helps boost collagen production. I use mine every day at a low dose. Not everyone can tolerate a daily application. Sometimes you have to ease your skin into it, maybe like once a week first, and then twice a week the next week until you can go up to daily. And sometimes people can't even go up to daily, and that's totally fine. Whatever works for your skin. And then just a really, really good moisturizer, like with hyaluronic HA or hyaluronic acid infused moisturizer, something really emollient that gets absorbed best in your skin. And my hormones, I could say. So there needs to be more studies to see like if testosterone really works with the skin, because I feel like my skin was a lot better since I started that. And just getting regular sleep, hydration, all the basic things, optimizing your vitamins like vitamin B12, vitamin D, all that contributes to how you look and how you feel inside. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Especially if you're starting from kind of the inside out.
Yes.
I can absolutely see that. Like when you're just on a different level, right? Where you feel like you are, not just in survival mode, and that you can kind of take your life to that thrive mode too. Like you're going to just like want to look better on the outside too. I think you'll naturally just glow as a result
I
as
agree.
well, but
Yes.
I see everything is so connected. I just have a couple more questions for you, Krisha. I'd love to know too, what are you excited about right now in the world of functional medicine, longevity, anti-aging? Are there new upcoming technologies or treatments or procedures, approaches that you think are going to start to become more mainstream in the future?
I'm really excited about peptides in general. So I kind of mentioned GLP-1 is one type of peptide. There's
Mm.
other people don't know insulin is actually a peptide. So just to give you an example, we've been using peptides for a very long time now, and people are just not realizing what they are. So I think it's starting to become more mainstream. A lot of peptides are already being used by athletes right now. And then now it's starting to enter the world of like chronic disease recovery, gut healing, age reversal therapies, right? So we're moving towards more like cellular function, mitochondrial medicine. It's more personalized, it's precision based, it's guided by like your genetics, metabolic health, epigenetics, all that. So we're shifting from reactive medicine to more preventative medicine. So really excited about peptides. People don't know there's peptides that help immunity, boosting your immune function. Recently, I used this peptide called thymosin alpha 1 because I was traveling, going to I just came back from a conference and I started getting sick. I feel like it's inevitable when you're in a plane with 100
Mm.
people. You're gonna
Mhm.
get the viruses and pathogens in the air. I gave myself 2 injections of that peptide and immediately I felt better. It's really incredible. Yeah. So you can I think there's some cases where patients who are on chemo for cancer, that really suppresses your immune system. Something like that type of peptide really helps with helping them deal with that chemo and preventing those side effects and boosting their immune system and make their journey towards fighting cancer more
Mm.
manageable and feeling better for themselves. So that's what I'm really excited about. Also, there are aesthetic peptides as well. So a big one is called copper tripeptide or GHKCU. That really helps with skin quality. Um,
Mm.
we are starting to use we're actually going to roll out a new hair restoration program soon utilizing a combination of 3 peptides, which is the copper peptide BPC157 and thymosin beta 4, which is the one I talked about. These are regenerative peptides. It's really a really exciting time for us. So I think it's becoming more mainstream now. More people are going to hear about them. I hope your listeners will research these, and I'm happy to answer any questions. People can reach out to me if you want to learn more about peptides. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I think our team just had you do an interview on
Okay.
copper peptides in particular, right? With
Oh, right.
your
Yes.
mouth. Yes.
I remember. Yeah, I got this yesterday. Yeah, I'm excited. So that I would highly recommend for people, especially like people who want to improve their skin quality. That really helps. Yes.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Are most peptides injectables other than like I know some skincare has peptides in it,
Yeah.
but if people are curious about peptides, and we'll make sure to link in the show notes where they can get in touch with you, Krisha, as well as to make an appointment at Body and Beauty Lab, which is super
Yes.
exciting. But where's a good place to kind of start?
Yes, so you can visit us at bodyandbeautylab.com. We have 2 locations. Actually, we have 3 in Florida. There's one in Florida, but I go to our mainline Philadelphia location. It's at Radnor and also downtown Philadelphia. My Instagram is at Krysha, Krysha .np as a nurse practitioner. Feel free to message me if you want to learn more. And I don't post regularly. I need to get better at that, but I'm excited to start putting out more content to educate people about these because they are life changing. I have so many patients who's so thankful every time I see them. They're like, I don't know how my life was without, before coming here. So, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's really incredible. And this is the happiest I've ever felt in my career. I feel like I've helped the most people in this field that compared to my previous jobs in the past. Yeah.
That's
And thank you
amazing.
for allowing me to have this opportunity to, spread awareness about these different treatments because they are really incredible. Yes.
It's
Mhm.
so exciting, and I know you've gotten me very energized just with this conversation. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's important to have these conversations, and I think I think with our health, it's important to be healthy, but if we can optimize it and really feel as good as we look, for example, or the opposite, that's really what it's all about, right? Everything
Yeah.
is connected. And I think that you've definitely given us a lot of important food for thought. And like you said, just tools in the toolbox that we can explore and see what's right for us to have us feel our best. So thank you, Krysha. It was a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you to Rena. It was my pleasure meeting you, and have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode deposited some useful advice and insights to help you grow your wealth. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future conversations. You can find more resources, episode details, and updates at growyourwealthpodcast.com. And let's keep the conversation going on Instagram. Follow me at Grow Your Wealth Podcast. I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, or takeaway from today's show. Until next time, remember, burnout is optional. Take care, and I'll see you next week.